Today I'm going to show you how you can make a cheesesteak sandwich that has good macros and is made in about 10 minutes. First, let's talk about the beef. I recommend using 150 grams of top sirloin beef. This is a very lean cut of meat that's relatively cheap, has good flavor, and isn't super chewy. Alternatively, you can also use eye-round, which is even cheaper. However, it can be a bit tough at times, so I would go with the top sirloin. Sirloin is usually sold as a steak that you need to cut into thin strips, but my butcher sells them in kind of slices, so all I have to do is to cut them again into thin pieces. Some groceries, especially Asian groceries, have thinly sliced pieces in the freezer, so you can check that out to save even more work. Next up is the bread. Here I have a 20 cm or 8-inch baguette that weighs 114 grams, which is about 280 calories. Now, you can use the bread like this. However, what you can also do to reduce the calories is to slice the bread in half and then remove the soft part of the bread. The easiest way to do this is to use a spoon and just scrape everything out. By doing this, you can save over a third of the calories without losing any of the chewy texture of the bread. That is the main reason we all love to eat bread. As you can see, the bread now weighs 70 grams, so I've reduced the calories by over 100. And you don't need to throw the soft part in the garbage. I started to save the leftover bread in a Ziploc bag in the freezer and will use them to feed the ducks at a lake near my apartment, which is a fun thing to do, especially if you have kids. Next, put a board on a scale and add in 30 grams of cheddar. Cheddar is a very high calorie cheese. However, because it's so strong in flavor, you don't need much to already taste the cheese. Next, add about half a teaspoon of cornstarch. This is very important as it will act as an emulsifier so the cheddar doesn't break in the pan when heated. And lastly, adding 30 grams of evaporated milk. This will also act as an emulsifier and will add a sweet taste that works very well with the cheese. Give this a stir and set that aside. For the vegetables, all I will prepare is a yellow onion that gets diced into smaller pieces, and optionally you can also add some pickled jalapenos. I like a little heat in my sandwich, so I will just chop up some of the chilies and then it's time to cook. Heat up a pan to medium heat, add some oil, and what I like to do is to add the bread with the inner side down and give them a light toast for about 2 minutes. This isn't necessary. In fact, there are a lot of people that would rather have soft bread instead of toasted, so that's up to you. Add another bit of oil and now go in with the onions and a pinch of salt. Fry the onions for about 3 minutes, stirring them occasionally. They will slowly get softer and then get translucent and start to caramelize. This will add a ton of flavor, especially with the beef. Once you are happy with the color, push them aside, add another bit of oil and now add in the beef. Try to separate the pieces with a spatula to get maximum browning, and then add a strong pinch of salt, freshly ground black pepper, and I also like to add a bit of garlic powder. The beef only needs about 45 to 60 seconds before flipping. Please don't overcook the meat here. Remember, it's a super lean cut and will become very dry very fast. The other side needs another 45 to 60 seconds as well. Then add the jalapenos if you're using them and give everything a stir. Now switch off the heat, go on with the cheese sauce and keep stirring everything for about half a minute. You will see that in the beginning the cheese will look as if you failed the recipe, but as it keeps melting, this will turn into a very creamy and gooey cheese sauce. At this point, remove the pan from the stove and add in the beef onto your sandwich bread, and there you have a 10-minute cheesesteak sandwich that looks and tastes absolutely delicious. Macros for the entire thing are 613 calories, 43 grams of carbs, 27 grams of fat and 51 grams of protein. I made a cookbook that helped me go from this to this without even thinking about being on a diet. 190 low-calorie, high-protein recipes from breakfast, lunch or dessert, and even nutritional tables or protein sources. Everything you need is in here. And the best part is that I will constantly be updating the book with new recipes, and you will get every recipe update for free once you've purchased it. Join the thousands of people that already bought the book. The link is in the description.